Crucify them!
Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Shalom, I'm Noah Pricey, Christian Gamer. I love RPGs, JRPGs, and I love Legend of Zelda. I've not played every Legend of Zelda game, but I have played Breath of the Wild, and I love Breath of the Wild so much. It might be one of my favorite Legend of Zelda games. It's kind of hard. It's still weird because it's like, am I biased because it's one of the more recent Legend of Zeldas? I don't know. I really enjoyed it. When Tears of the Kingdom came out, I was still questioning, why does this game need to exist? Breath of the Wild, I think it ended on a good note. I think it's fine. Why do we need a sequel? But once I stepped my toes into it, I was hooked. There's a reason why normally I try to do these videos quick so I can get them out as soon as possible, give my thoughts on the game and my journey so far, and I try to keep it around 10 hours. Usually gets stretched out to 15. This time it got stretched out to 30. This game is so much fun. I love it so much. I've stayed away from a lot of biases. I've stayed away from a lot of trailers. I've seen the very first trailer when they first announced it, but that's it. I've stayed away for the most part, and I am glad I did. Oh my goodness. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to give you and have you join me on my journey through this game. Now, if you want to know more about my journey, because I do brush over a lot since 30 hours, go over to my live streams over on HeroScript. I stream every Saturday, 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Mountain Time if you want to come by. I try to stream throughout the week also if possible, or at least I'm trying to now. Also, if you're just wondering if you want to buy this game or not, whether you played Breath of the Wild or not, I think you should. Also, if you want to play this game but you haven't played Breath of the Wild, just right off the bat, if you don't want to get spoiled by anything, you could just jump into this game. I think they do a great job of that. So without further ado, let's jump into the game. Okay. Nintendo just dropped us off into the game right off the bat. Zelda basically explains to us that we're basically going under Hyrule, kind of shown as in the first trailer that we've seen. And right off the bat, our boy Link is nice and healthy. I hope we get a lot of this where we're actually like playing together. I feel like no, which is going to be a problem. Or a bummer. Going under Hyrule Castle, we actually see some weird lore statues. Look at those weird people. They're weird because I don't understand them. Little statues there. We actually get a lot of lore down here with just a bunch of the wall carvings and hearing about people called Zonai. And overall, just getting to see Zelda just geek out and be a dork.
This is a huge discovery.
But as we start to head ever deeper down under Hyrule Castle, we actually start to head into some dark, gloomy, creepy areas, which is the same gloomy stuff that seems to be plaguing the whole kingdom, which is why we're down here. Let's go, princess. Oh gosh, that's like, oh no, that can't be good. And down deeper into the gloomy area, we actually find our man dehydrated Ganon. So yes, not only getting Metroid, we also get an amazing introduction of Ganon. Probably my favorite and kind of scariest and intimidating introduction we've ever had with Ganon.
My power cannot save you from me. Zelda, you carries that fragile sword. A link.
How do you know?
Rauru placed his faith in you,
Who?
and that was all you could do.
And with Ganon's kind of intimidation tactic, he's able to just lift up Hyrule. Yeah, he could just do that. I was a little bit like surprised, to be honest, that it's just him. But I mean, good for him. With the kingdom now being up in the sky, this is where we get our nothingness Link again. We have him in his new hairstyle, aka no hairstyle, full on mullet Link. Mullet Link, the best Link. But at least we have the Master Sword, that's for sure. Yeah, Master Sword is low in energy. Okay, so some things don't change. It doesn't take long for us to get our Breath of the Wild 2 shot, which is gonna be awesome. Really beautiful. I really love this shot. It looks so good, especially with the dragon just flying by. Oh, it's so good. I love it. Breath of the Wild. Dragon! Dragoon. Okay, this might be a little bit of a step up on the Breath of the Wild moments. You know what? Maybe they got me, okay? Maybe they got me. On the surface of these floating islands, we get to see that, yeah, no, the combat of this game is very similar. You pick up a stick, you could do your dodge and flurry rush. But while we are down here, I am starting to realize that I actually really like this aesthetic of this sky island. It's reminding me of a lot of like Greek aesthetic, which, you know what? I'll take it. It's a good look. After some more familiar exploration from the first game, we actually get to meet Raoh, who is literally the goat. Literally, I think in multiple senses. Is he a goat? Is he a rabbit? I don't know. Either way, he is the reason why we have this weird looking cool arm. Literally, he saved us when Ganon tried to attack us. And now he's going to be our temporary old king, who's going to be ushering us to do the shrines on this up sky great plateau. All right. I love how that looks. This looks very cool. Similar to the shrines on the Great Plateau, we do slowly actually unlock our different tool sets that we're going to have throughout the game. The first one is one of the most important, Ultra Hand. Now, this is similar to Magnetize from Breath of the Wild of getting a move stuff, but it's actually, the craziness comes with the power of gooping different objects together. I had no idea this was in the game, and I was shocked. Shocked, I'll tell you. Oh. Ew. It's a weird goo thing to, like, put on. Here you go. Unstick it. Is it actually wiggling? It is wiggling. Oh, crap. Whoops. Okay, you know what? Maybe this building mechanic has won me over already. But yeah, with this gooping mechanic of this game, the game really wants you to build stuff and get you across things. I found it mostly helpful with just building a bunch of bridges. It's been really fun just to do that. I hope this doesn't get irritating. I'm going to be honest. It's a little worrying that they chose this, but it might be fun. As we explored more, and especially getting to the next shrine, we actually see Koroks. Are you stuck? It's a little Korok merchant. Oh, I love that. Koroks do still exist. Now, I was super surprised to see this fat little backpack dude, but yeah, they're still in this. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm really shocked they kept with Koroks, especially after how they did us dirty last time. But there's hope that things will change. I got you, man. Don't worry. Woo! Woo! At our second main shrine, we get the ability to fuse. Again, was not expecting this to be a possibility at all. This is the fuse ability. What? It allows you to fuse something nearby to your weapon or shield nearby, enhancing it. What? The fuse ability literally lets you become Unga Bunga Link. And then it's clobbering time. All right, that didn't quite work as clobbering time. There we go. Again, I'm excited to see the creativity similar with the building of like what you can do with this, but it's so goofy just having a big old rock getting a slam against opponents. It's so funny. This is my Link. Unga Bunga Link. Now, with the fuse mechanic, because there's so many things to fuse like onto your weapons, now every weapon actually have a horn. And we'll see this later with some iconic enemies we saw before, like bokoblins, now have different horns that will actually be used for weapons. And I actually really like this. I think it's a great job to help with the durability, since durability is still in this game, and it kind of makes it feel a little bit less bad that you can just constantly be upgrading your weapons. Captain Construct one horn? Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Also, I don't think I mentioned, but the rewards we get for these new shrines are Light of Blessings. It's kind of interesting not to see Sheikah dudes anymore praying, but, you know, I'll take, you know, couples just looking at me. Sure, why not? After our second shrine, we actually get another main mechanic. We got the energy cells. Now, this is for another thing that I just had no idea existed in this. So similar to the building mechanic, there are devices in this game that basically using your batteries you can use to transverse. Now, it made sense to combine this with the building because then you actually have like more, I don't know, usage. Basically how you can make cars in the future, I'm assuming. Making our way to the third shrine, we actually get into the cold tundra, and we have to actually learn how do you deal with the heat. This should have been easy for probably most people. For me, I kind of ran out all my cooking materials, so yeah, I just had to like make a fire and stay by it. I mean, it kind of worked. It was super jank, but we were finally able to make it to our third main shrine. At the third main shrine, we got the ability Ascension. Now, I was kind of spoiled because I saw like a brief bit of like, oh yeah, we're flying up and down and like the skywards part of this game. So I was like, oh yeah, of course this made sense. But later on, I heard the lore reason to this was because the devs were using this to deal with tunnels and basically using it as like a cheat that like, you know, a lot of devs use. And they just decided to put it in the game. And honestly, that alone makes me love this mechanic so much. It's really weird to see Link just pop out like a Diglett, but I'm all for it. What's that? Oh. But with that shrine over, we're told to head to the Temple of Time, the real one, I guess. And once we glide down there with this weird makeshift bird, super goofy, but I actually kind of love it. It's so sketchy. Oh. Yeah, it just seems like new Smash map. But down there, we open the Temple of Time and find a comma. Now, later on, I was kind of reminded that this is the similar shape that we see in Skyward Sword. I have a playlist of that on Heroescope if you want to watch me play that. But seeing Zelda, we were told Zelda was here, but she's kind of here, not here. I don't know. After she touches our hand, we basically have an infinity gauntlet on our right hand where we were amputated. Yeah, Zelda gave us the power of rewind. So that's the thing we're playing with.
Oh yeah, it's rewind time.
Also, spoilers, rewind is actually really wild. It's a really wild mechanic, just like how stasis was. So for anybody who's missing stasis, don't worry, recall is ridiculous. At the end of the Temple of Time, we're supposed to have this like Dark Souls moment, but oh no, we don't have enough hearts. Oh darn. So Rauru actually tells us, hey, there's actually a fourth shrine you should go do. Kind of makes sense progression-wise why it would make us go to this fourth one now so that we would actually know the importance of health, but I don't know, man. It's just weird. Really, the main purpose of this last shrine is so that we can actually make use of this wacky recall ability. It looks so goofy using it, but like, oh, it's so powerful. Whoa! Crazy. But with the last shrine done, we were actually able to get back and get our extra heart so that we can actually open up the Dark Souls door. And at the end of the Dark Souls door, we actually have to say goodbye to our friend Rauru. For some reason, he has to leave. I don't know why. I was actually kind of looking forward to having a little Navi friend, but oh well.
No!
And what we get after this Temple of Time door is we were hoping to find Zelda again, but instead we find this glowing spot and just putting our sword up there, or Master Sword, because of course we do. It gets rewinded back and Zelda takes it. Now, we don't know how long this is that it gets recalled, but yeah, Zelda just gets that. So that's something. But before we can have fun, the dragon interrupts us to tell us, hey, go down to the surface, you silly man. So yeah, we listen to Zelda because we're gonna have the Breath of the Wild Zelda talking to us throughout the game again. I was kind of hoping Zelda would be chilling with us, but if we can't have nice things, I guess. So getting our second Breath of the Wild shot, falling back down to the surface, we finally make it to Hyrule Kingdom. And now it truly feels like the game has begun again. Oh gosh, that Bokoblin looks different.
Oh, I don't want to be with a Bokoblin yet. I would never want to do that.
Get back. Exploring the wild, we see a bunch of these like caches that are just spread about the world, and so they're kind of like, hey, go build. We tried doing it.
Let's go. Yeah. Okay, my craft sucks a little bit.
So yeah, if you have long stretches of ground, I mean, it works. It works. It definitely seemed like, all right, we should hold off on doing this for now.
I should try to. Oh my goodness.
Ah! We find another blue bunny who, as we know before, does get us some rupees. So while it is kind of cruel that we hit it, it does lead us to a cave. Caves are not only a new thing that we gotta kind of keep our eye out for, but also it contains a new enemy type.
Whoa! Ah! What are you?
Already seeing some of these new monster types, I'm kind of getting excited for the possibilities that this game had. I was like all in on this game at this point and excited to see everything different of this game. And after fully kind of like digging through what this kind of cave has, we find this weird frog thing, and after kind of like zapping it, we actually got a new collectible, bubble gems. Now this is a super important collectible, at least for somebody like me who loves stuff like bokoblin masks. Exiting the cave though, we're introduced to more lovable creatures.
Yo, look at him. Look at that pig go. Literally has a sword on his head. I gotta check this out.
So after checking out this beast through explosives and trying to deal with all the moppets so that we could deal with the big honcho 1v1.
Gosh. He has so much health. Whoa! Alright, range battle.
When we slayed the majestic beast, we were able to get, not only were we able to get monster parts, we were also able to get a very cool possible new sword. Yup, probably my favorite weapon that we got right off the bat. It looks so good, the stylized, and it honestly makes me want to fight more monsters, which was a problem I had at the end of the old Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's partially due to Master Mode, with it being kind of pointless to fight monsters, but already I'm kind of excited to fight more creatures. Heading into Lookout Landing, kind of the area that the game wants me to head into already, we find some familiar friends. We first find Robbie, who is as old as always, and we see Pura, who everybody's simping over. Not me. Pura told us to go talk to some like soldiers who are looking for us. So as we head out to Hyrule Castle, I find one of my favorite side quests so far.
Are you Terry's son? Are you a Terry believer? Addison?
Basically, this Addison dude needs help with putting up signs. You can help him. I just love that questline so much. But on our way to Hyrule Castle, we actually find some shrines that we do some fun, wacky puzzles with before we're able to head back to Lookout Landing and actually unlock our first tower. Now, I'm going to be honest, I like the upgrades to this new tower. First off, we get a paraglider just so that we can actually do these towers, which is important because, boy, are these new towers actually just funner.
Oh my gosh, terrifying. Spider-Man 2 vibes, am I right?
So yes, the best way to use the tower supposedly to unlock maps is sending someone up in the sky while holding a smartphone. Does it make sense? I don't know, man. Yeah? Either way, I still think this is the funnest way to do a tower, just because no longer do you have to do the slow process of climbing up. It's a quick process of getting shot up into the sky, and then you get the Fortnite style, where we landing boys falling back down to the surface. It's really fun and way more enjoyable. Back on the surface, Pura tells us about basically the main quest lines that we're going to have in this game. Something about how in the four corners of the land there is a bunch of different kind of weird phenomenons going on in the world. And basically that's what we're supposed to go to find out what's going on, and hoping that it'll help us lead us to Zelda. They do point us northwest to Hebra, which is kind of funny. Last time it always seemed like the starting area was the Zora's domain, but this time they're trying to be like, hey, go to the Ristos. Before doing any main quest lines though, I decided to do some side quests. So talking with Robbie actually talks about going down into the chasms for some research purposes, which we have no problem doing. Whee! Free falling into these dark abyss areas is kind of cool, and I had mixed feelings as starting down in these depths. I kind of like the style of this dark room. I like the idea that there is more to this game than just a normal surface. I love ideas like that, and after playing Elden Ring with its underground surfaces, I kind of had a lot of the same feelings I had there. And this more came up later throughout playing more time into this than right now, but streaming this game, the depths feels way more of a take your time exploration situation than any other spot. The big thing, besides it just being dark, is that all the monsters are kind of having this weird red glow, which has been the gloom that's affecting Hyrule Kingdom. And this gloom will actually make it so that your maximum health will basically be minused for a bit. It's kind of nasty, but kind of cool at the same time. But talking with Robbie, we actually do the side quest where we basically find a statue, we take a picture of it, unlocking, taking photos, which I think I'm actually decided to finally, for once, actually try to fully fill the Hyrule Compendium. I know it's kind of a pain in the butt, but I'm figuring if I start doing it now, I actually have a chance of possibly doing it. But the whole point of this questline was basically to find out lore about what's under these depths, take a photo, and bring it back to Lookout Landing. So on our way back to Lookout Landing to kind of give back the photo that we got, I get distracted with some awesome side quests and obviously more caves. And since I keep on getting distracted of where to go, I do decide to grab a horse just because I'm not in the mood to be basically building stuff at the moment. So horse time, let's go. And it was around this time that I tried to get super creative with my fuses, which just ended up with me dying a bunch with trying to make this bomb barrel work.
Why didn't I put the barrel on like something easier to throw? There we go.
Later on, we get to a stable where we actually get to see a familiar face with Beetle. Always great to see him. But at the stables, while everything does seem very normal and similar, there is something different here. Pony points. For some reason, the game wanted to give us more progression, which I guess I'm not against. But now there's this weird like membership system of like every time you stay at the place, you can get more points and then you unlock new stuff. And it's kind of interesting, but we'll honestly have to see if it's really worth it or not. Doing more shrines and trying to help out more Koroks with vehicles. We come across our second tower, and it's kind of surrounded by a fort. And I felt pretty confident that we could take it down.
Uh-oh. Wait, what? Oh, jeez. Wait. Rewind. You fools! Oh gosh, that dude's armored.
Again, this game is super goofy. I love it so much, and I'm glad that we're able to just kind of jank our way through just killing monsters and still trying to make our way through these now new Assassin's Creed style forts. So after killing a bunch of moblets and whatnot, we were finally able to unlock our second tower. And it was at this point that I was slowly starting to remember kind of the older landmarks that were from the original Breath of the Wild. But at this beginning, I kind of wanted to revisit the Temple of Time. At this point, I didn't find a second prayer statue to kind of give my blessings to so I can like level up my hearts. I knew there was one at the Temple of Time, so we decided to head there. And up in the sky, we find some of these floating islands, and this first one that this tower leads us to is just a spot that constantly has like a fairy spawn spot. So of course we're gonna grab some fairies. I'm kind of surprised they gave us a location like this already, but I mean, I'll take it. And while we were up here, we actually did a small little puzzle, having fun, and we found a new collectible. Honestly, I have no idea what the Sage's Will is going to be used for, but I don't know. We'll have to find out if it's good. It seems like it's going to be similar to Hearts or Stamina because it's that same style of item, question mark? Either way, finally at the Temple of Times, just flying in. Everything looks very similar, but when we actually try to use the statue, we get a riddle. And after getting attacked by the clan, because of course they still exist, and struggling against a infuriating shrine.
Alright. Let's not burn. Ah! I'm gonna die. I don't want to have to do all this again. No! No! I'm having fun. Best game of the year. Ah!
We get our first Blood Moon. And yeah, of course Blood Moons still exist. Why not? I will mention it now. Blood Moons pop up way more often than normal, which is for better or for worse. But probably the thing that was most scariest, and I don't know if this happens every Blood Moon, but when we landed to try to get to a new shrine, we got attacked by a new foe? Question mark?
Whoa! Whoa! Nope! Ah! I'm climbing this. Oh, and it's raining. Ah! My hearts!
So yeah, actually, after trying to flee from this weird, terrifying horror movie foe, we were able to get some new items, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this creature at all. It was terrifying. That's how I felt.
Super unnecessary game. All right.
Since we kept on exploring because I didn't know what to do with the riddle for the Temple of Time, we decided to head to KAKARIKO because that was the first place I wanted to revisit to see how different it might be from Breath of the Wild to this game.
I found my destination. I didn't realize I was this close.
Heading into KAKARIKO, I do like the new design. Seeing all the weird floating rings, which I guess came from the sky, question mark, and actually seeing the small differences, but also the similarities, was actually really enjoyable. I wanted to see what was different NPC-wise also, so heading in to try to see Impa, we didn't find Impa, but instead we find the diary of Paya's, which was kind of funny. It reminded me like, oh yeah, in Breath of the Wild, that was a whole thing of she was shy, so we read her diary to learn more about her. Kind of intrusive, but you know, it's still funny, I guess. And basically through the lore of the diary, we actually get to learn that Papaya is kind of the new chief around here. And I was like, oh, so Impa's gone now? We do learn later that we actually can do a quest line with her, which I haven't still done. Which we don't end up doing within the 30 hours, so who knows what that's like. After more exploring in the wild and fighting weird enemy types, like now the Bokoblins are just riding one of these Stone Golems now. That's a thing. After stuff like that and doing more weird shenanigans of side quests, I actually finally confront Paya and learn a little bit about the story mission that is here in KAKARIKO. Basically something about how the ring runes are just existing and people want to learn what's going on here, but Zelda said no. It's a weird thing of people be like, oh, that must be Zelda, but it seems like it's not. I don't know. The plot thickens. Finally actually registering our noble horse Blurred, we make our way to a monster force, which is, while I thought was going to be easy, we ended up dying to this a lot.
We're using all of our stuff, but that's kind of cool. You know, really, to think about it. Did he point? He's like, hey, that's mine. Oh. All right. I think we're gonna have to call it there.
As you can see, we've gone kind of full swing into just exploration mode / side quest mode. And honestly, right off the bat, finding these different areas that had the old outfits from the previous game, but in kind of these caves that you got to explore, / from being told from somebody to actually go to, which later on I actually found one of these just on my own without the side quest being given, but it's cool to find these outfits through these quest lines, to be honest. But moving forward, I found my boy, Kilton. And, I mean, of course he has a brother. Why wouldn't he? So yes, being completed with finally actually having our Bokoblin mask, we actually get to learn where our bubble gems go to. Honestly, wasn't expecting to have it go to him, but hey, I'm all for it. Later on, I ran into another one of those weird creepy arm things, and after defeating them, we have to deal with Phantom Ganon, because that's a thing. And after somehow surviving against it, we actually got some cool weapons. Super scary, but very cool. Later on, we did some more side quests, kind of helping out a lady, kind of from the gloom, so that she doesn't have to be an extortionist. You know how it is, the normal stuff. And then we were able to get our third tower unlocked. At this point, I was kind of feeling pretty good about myself, so we head back to the forces that was whooping on us earlier, and we're finally able to actually deal with them. You're dead!
Got it. We did it.
Why it was important to deal with this force was it kind of was the blocking point for me getting to HATENO, which was the second place I wanted to visit to see how different it was. And getting there, boy, was it different. The game up to this point kept on telling me how there was a new fashion scene going on in this place. And I don't think I was ready for the differences here. It's kind of funny to see everybody in mushroom fashion style. Now, there's a whole quest line that has to deal with basically a mayoral election, and honestly, throughout my 30 hours, I sadly did not get enough time to finish this quest line, but you best believe I am planning on finishing HATENO's quest line. It was at this point, after doing a bunch of these quest lines and visiting different areas, I was like, oh yeah, I was wanting to do that Temple of Time shenanigans, and I was kind of hinted at that maybe the solution to the riddle is actually going underground. So we head underground under the Great Plateau, and after exploring for a bit, we were able to get the ability Auto Build, which at this point, I was getting kind of worried about the building mechanic. I was a little bit worried that one, what's the point of building if I'm just going to lose my builds that I made? And two, it might get tedious building stuff. But after trying this auto build, I was kind of excited to start building. But that was interrupted quickly by finding out, yeah, the Yika clan master Koga is still alive. And after having a weird battle against him driving a vehicle, because of course he has a vehicle, after defeating him and him literally just flying away comedic style, we got to unlock a new recipe for the auto build. So there's some like stuff that you can for sure build no matter what, which is going to be interesting to see later on. But while down here in the depths, we actually got more materials so that we can unlock a new energy well. So basically our batteries that power our devices can actually charge more. And boy, I'm already finding all the different collectibles and upgrades, and like while I'm loving it, I'm also getting a little bit worried of how long it's going to take to like actually fully upgrade everything. But exploring the depths and trying to be a little bit creative with what we build. Got it. All right, let's do this. Giddy up. Wow! Ah! Ah! All right, maybe that didn't work as planned. We finally make it to under the Temple of Time. I truly don't know. Oh, this also looks like something. That looks like pray to some primordial being. It's like, I don't know about that. Sadly, I thought this was going to be the solution to the problem, but sadly, it just gives the same riddle that what the other prayer thing above at the Temple of Time gave. So, yeah, still don't know what to do about that. Seems like someone's problem. Someone else's. All right, let's leave the downward side and leave the... Let's let someone else deal with that. It was at this point that I was honestly preparing to just ship out this video now. And I realizing that I probably should touch on to see if the main big dungeons are different from the last Breath of the Wild game. I remember the 4 main dungeons from Breath of the Wild being kind of a little bit of a contention point for some people. I found it kind of important that I should probably see if the main dungeons this time are any different. So again, we put a pause on the side quests that I actually wanted to do, aka KAKARIKO and HATENO. I badly wanted to do their side quest missions way more. But we decided to head, I guess, more east to deal with our first regional phenomenon. I went this way basically because since it was just close by to KAKARIKO, and also I didn't want to be like everybody else and go northwest. I don't know, I have to be hip like that. I don't know. So try to avoid and run past some lizards. Pigs? What's up, pigs? Just another day, am I right, pigs? Yeah, another day. Uh-oh. Ah, lizard! We're just gonna keep going. Pretend they're not there. They'll run away. But heading further into Zora's domain, we kind of run into what is actually the problem in this region. All right, I don't think it's gonna hurt us. I think it's just gonna slow us. Let's test this out. Aha, it does indeed slow us. Oh my gosh, it really does slow us. But heading deeper into Zora's domain by taking a weird path, just climbing a lot, and then using Ascension a lot, which was a weird combo, we were finally able to make it to Zora's domain. And while we couldn't find our boy Sidon right now, we were able to help out the populace with just throwing some fruit at a statue. And that's where we get told by Yona, who is actually, Sidon's fiance, which is kind of cool, that Sidon's up on the mountain, and if we want to see what's going on with this problem, we should go talk to him. So, with more weird climbing ascensions, we were reunited with our boy Sidon. And while it's good to see him again, I'm honestly, I think he had a little bit of a debuff. Like, I swear he was way buffer in Breath of the Wild 1, but I don't know. What do I know? We get told by Sidon that he's basically here trying to help prevent a lot of the sludge going into Zora's domain. Turns out the sludge is actually getting into the gills of the people. And yeah, no, that's kind of suffocating and bad. So besides being told to like go up in the sky to deal with the island up top, that's where the sludge is coming from, we decide to head over and unlock the next tower, which we help out some people with removing some gunk. And flying up in the air from this tower, there's a lot of these like little floating islands they put by you. And boy, this time they put a moon. But I want to get a better look at this moon. Whoa! But the important part was that you want to use a lot of these little islands to get to the main island. Or at least that's what I thought. So we attempted with several different weird builds to try to get up there. And it took us to returning to where Sidon was to find a little hot air balloon to just make a simple build. And after more jank experience of trying to make it work and learning the true power of the recall. And when I mean using the true power of recall, I mean the true power of recall. Panic. Panic. You do this. You do this. No! Okay, actually, fall down. We can still recall. Please don't break. Okay, recall. Yeah, because like speed-wise, it should be fine. Oh my goodness. Oh! It's such a silly way to do this. Just because there's not like an activation button. So this is kind of the best I got. Yeah, there we go. Don't tell me I got a full-on restart. No. Wait, unless I get an ascension off of this. Oh. Auto build, baby. We were finally able to make it, and boy, was that just a challenge in itself. I was actually kind of like patting the game on his back for like, hey, this is a good challenge. I kind of like that, like the emphasis on building to get up here. Da 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 da! I made it! So we started exploring this island, and instantly we run into some powerful constructs. Not only are we dealing with weird, goofy gravity with the floatiness, which I honestly really love, but boy, just every enemy just hits like a truck. That wasn't the point of that. Oh my gosh, I forgot he does so much damage. Later on, we find some weird water bubble puzzles, which was kind of neat. And later on, it just felt like the big puzzle of this game was just flying/climbing to different areas. And after doing that for a hot second, really kind of MacGyvering our way upwards to the main island, we were finally able to get to this like clean waterfall area. And after, again, as mentioned before, doing weird builds, we were able to just barely get ourselves up to the main island. Oh. Ah! I don't think I deserve this. I don't think I'm supposed to be seeing this yet. Let's be honest, it's kind of clear what the problem is going on here. There's a lot of gunk that needs to be washed out. Me, being a smart Legend of Zelda dude, I was like, you just go do the puzzles. So I decided to do the puzzles, and after the first one, we see this little water mill, and we couldn't turn the knob or interact with it. And this was when I was told by a friend of mine who was in chat, kind of told me that, yeah, I kind of need someone here to help me. He was actually really surprised that I got here in the first place. And after kind of like stubbornly doing one more puzzle, I finally decided that he was probably onto something. Sidon told me to go talk to Giotto, and after helping him out, we head back to Sidon, and then after helping Sidon, we head back to Hidden Dorifon, and then we head back to Weird Fish Island to do a cutscene, which was cool. Where are you? Is this gonna like teleport me up into the sky? It's gonna be something like that, isn't it? Yeah, I think you're right, Dylan. Beam me up! And then heading back to Sidon, we get into a confrontation versus a slug-like, which is a monster, a boss that you should probably take a photo of for some reason. And we actually get to join up with Sidon, which was actually really cool. And we got to use his ability, which allowed us to not only have a little water bubble around us, but actually help wash away the sludge, which was actually really cool to have this little combo. All right, are you ready? Oh, there we go. Let's just run up on him. After dealing with the sludge log, we actually get probably one of my favorite moments in this little small character development part. Now, I was a little salty. I'll be honest. I was salty at this point because I had to go back down under the dungeon. And the problem was there wasn't a fast travel back to the top of the dungeon. So I knew back in my mind that I'm going to have to re-travel up the island. And this kind of dampened my mood a little bit. And I was trying to still have a good time, but deep down, all I wanted to do was just finish this puzzle at this point. But here I had a really great moment of Yona and Sidon talking to each other. Now, at this point, Sidon has been a little bit of like trying to protect Yona, which made sense. It's his fiance. But Yona kind of calls him out on it of him actually being kind of like living in fear after his sister's death. And I really love this idea of touching on it and how Sidon has to be his old self and being someone who's courageous and cool. And after he kind of gets back to his true self, we head forward, teamed up together. And again, I really love this moment. A good way to connect the old game with this game. So after another weird little small water puzzle, we unlock a waterfall to the tower. And this is where Sidon kind of tells us, like, haha, if you had the Zora armor, you could just like swim up like how the previous game, remember? And so after we get our Zora armor, which was lore-wise told to us that we actually gave them for repair, which I thought that was a good touch as to why we don't already have it, we are able to easily kind of like waterfall style go through the dungeon. And there's a part of me that made me a little bit salty how easy it was to go through the dungeon this time with the waterfall suit, but you know what? At least we were able to get through the dungeon quickly. But probably what was more salty was when we actually got up into this temple this time with Sidon here. When we actually triggered the shrine-like device, it kind of shows us like, hey, you should use water against this sludge, and kind of spells us out what we need to do already, even though we know what to do. But the salty part was that they literally gave us a way to teleport back up to this dungeon, which is something I wish I had before. Why didn't this game just already give it to me? I don't know. By the way, easily doing these puzzles with Sidon's help this time. Which I will mention, I actually do like the puzzles that were here in this dungeon. They're nice and easy, quaint, and not that hard, but I don't know. I still like them. They're fun. After doing all the puzzles, yeah, we were able to wash away the gunk and kind of reveal a comma, a little tier, maybe of a kingdom. But oh no, there was something in the gunk. We were attacked by a boss, a Makdarok. But as we begin to fight this boss, something kind of came to my realization. Okay, so does this mean that the muck like that I didn't get, am I missed out on that? Was that my only time? I'm gonna be honest, it seems like I was very cool-headed when I came to this realization, but deep down, this was my reaction when I first thought about this. So after having a pretty alright fight with this Makdarok, it was kind of fun to dealing with the gross muckness and then getting rid of the muck and having to chase down the monster. While this was a cool fight, after we defeated the monster and the monster just literally just explodes, we get a full heart, which is pretty standard for the main dungeons like Breath of the Wild, but also all the sludges disappears from the Kingdom of Tears. Speaking of tears, Sidon actually gets the tear, and when he touches it, we get a wild flashback. Not really a flashback, but we actually get to talk to the Zora's ancestor. And the Zora drops a lot of lore about a old confrontation against the Demon King. And there's a lot here to unpack, honestly, that I still don't fully comprehend. Like, we get to see Zelda all the way back in time. From then, I don't know. There's a lot to unpack that I fully don't understand that I'm going to have to wait until we fight another main dungeon to learn about. Just know, weird time shenanigans happen. Basically, time shenanigans and Zelda's the time sage, I guess, which makes sense that she could do all this time shenanigans, but it's wild. But after this like weird prophecy thing that we saw, Sidon actually gets the tear, and as he accepts his responsibility and gets it, he gets this weird avatar thing. I honestly liked the look of this avatar a lot. It looks very cool. But what's important about the avatar is for Sidon to technically always be on our side and to help us. He kind of bestows the power to us, giving us an Infinity Stone. And we'll touch on a little bit later what this Infinity Stone does. But most important, as mentioned before, all the muck is gone in the kingdom. And with it, Sidon declares that he will become king now. And not only that, Yona will be his wife. Kind of a great touching way to finish off this main quest line. And honestly, if it wasn't for me accidentally doing the puzzle beforehand and then jumping and having to go back and do all the side quests, I would have really loved this whole quest line, just the story element wise. But yes, with the vow of Sidon, him become literally the Sage of Water, which is wild. We're able to have an avatar of Sidon just with us all the time, which is kind of fun to have a little companion with us. The ability we get is the same ability we had in the main quest line of getting a weird bubble thing, which is kind of cool and makes me excited to do more quest lines, to be honest. Breath of the Wild 2 Tears of the Kingdom is a goofy game. This game's so wacky. I can't believe it. It's ridiculous that they decided to do what they did. Even though it's a little disheartening how we ended it, the weird part of playing this main dungeon, I'm glad I was able to do it so I could actually give my thoughts on it. I do like the differences they have from this game from Breath of the Wild. I like the differences. I like the idea of, hey, these actually are your deity friends' abilities or more avatars, so you're actually with them. We barely just got it, so I don't even know how great it's gonna be when you get the other friends, but I like the subtle differences. I like this self-identity that this game has compared to the other game. There's so much that they do that I just love. I think what's great about it is, as mentioned before, if you haven't played Breath of the Wild, you could definitely jump into this game and enjoy it. Now, if you're somebody who's played Breath of the Wild, you're going to have a great time. They have the underground depths, they have the sky, and even the surface level is different enough. Like, there's so much there that someone who enjoyed Breath of the Wild is going to enjoy this game. And coming as a Christian, specifically, my possible problems that I might have with the game of just trying to be aware of temptations or sins, or even being aware of secular religions, whether for protection or for just curiosity to learn more. What it does is, if you have played Breath of the Wild or know of Breath of the Wild, you already kind of know where you stand with this game. As a sequel, it does a great job of being similar but different enough. I think it does a good job as a sequel. So basically, if you are fine with Breath of the Wild, you're going to be fine with this game. If you have problems with Breath of the Wild, you're going to have problems with this game. Like, I didn't get footage of it, but literally the one weird prayer statue that you talk to that's like, oh, it has horns, so it's the dark evil one. I know some people had problems with that statue existing. I personally don't have a problem with it. That is here in this game. And so definitely, if you have a problem with that game, you're going to have a problem with this game. If you don't, you're not going to have problems with this game. I love this game so much. After the 30 hours I've put into it, I can't wait to put in more. I think I saw somewhere on Critics where it's about like 40. The average is like 48 hours to beat this game. I'm like, that's not going to happen. All I want to do is go complete every like side quest. I'm excited. And to finish Kelton's quest line, that's all I want to do. So that's probably actually what I'm going to go do right now. So definitely, again, if you want to follow up, go check out right here. There's going to be a little playlist of my live streams. Definitely check that out if you want to, whether post or live. Definitely both are welcomed. All right, off to go live my best Bookhopping life.